Mic check.
Hello.
Alright, we're good. And share the stream if you can.
Yeah, I got that.
And we're ready to go. Hello everybody, Fan2403, joined alongside AKDJ 2006 this week for round 2 of the XRS playoffs. We're here at Watkins Glen. As you can tell, the car's ghosted, making their way around for qualifying. And it's a packed house. It's a packed house tonight. We're expected to have a full lobby of drivers, so full 22. And we were expecting higher number count here for Watkins Glen. It is a very popular track amongst the NASCAR community. And it's round 2 of the playoffs. AK, thank you for being back here once again this week. And like we said, you were back full swing. You were in the podcast episode earlier this week. And now we move on here to Watkins Glen. And now that we know the scenarios after race 1, one driver needed to make up a lot of points as MVP from him having that whole scenario at the end of Road America. Now, him and a few others needed to make up some ground here for race 2.
Yeah, and I mean, with MVP, obviously this is the spot where he'll most likely do it. Obviously, he's been very good on the road courses. Pretty much anywhere he's been really good, but especially on the road courses, he's been showing that he's at least able to, majority of the time, at least set some challenge for Vanquish for that lead in first place, and he's gotten, I'm pretty sure almost all, if not all of his wins on road courses. So obviously this is a place where he's going to look to make up those points from last week's incident.
Yeah, and last week, obviously, out of his control, him being able to not get caught in a Forza pit road glitch. Hopefully, everything turns out well for him today. Taking a look at the point standings here real quick. MVP, he dropped to 2 points just outside the top 4. Just outside the top 4 in the playoffs, and now with everybody starting to get around making laps here. Vanquish, obviously securing the point lead. He already had a massive point difference with him being very far ahead with his playoff points. So Vanquish leads at 2095, Oracle at 2057, D-Dog at 2055, Kart Racer at 2054, MVP just 2 points behind Kart Racer at 2052, Reno 4 points behind MVP at 2048, Panda 5 points behind Reno, 243. Culture 3 points behind Panda at 2040, and Off-Road Hype 9 points behind Culture at 2031. With Vanquish getting the win last weekend at Road America East Round, he does secure a championship point. And for those of you who may not know the XRS point system, we have, as cars start to cross the line, we have championship points. They work very similar to playoff points, except there's not that many available. For championship points, you can only earn a maximum of 4 points throughout the entirety of the playoffs, and those championship points then transfer into the championship race, because a championship race is not based off of if you finished ahead of the other drivers. It is based, it is based on point total at the end of the day. So championship points could come in handy if, let's say, an incident happens and some of the playoff drivers are not as fast as we thought they could be for the championship race.
Yeah, I mean, obviously off of last week, there were some definite big winners and big losers from last week's race. Obviously, Oracle was one of the big winners. He jumped up, I think it was 3 spots, if I'm not mistaken, from 5th to 2nd. And with Vanquish, I think we can both agree, I think Vanquish has fairly secured that first spot. It would take a pretty big event for Vanquish to be out of the playoffs at this point. You'd have to have something like what happened to MVP for Vanquish to be in jeopardy of being out of the playoffs and the championship race. So really, there's only about 3 spots left in that top 4. So with Oracle having a good performance last week, and if he can have another solid performance this week, he could be looking very good coming into the playoffs. Obviously, MVP, like we've said, needs a very good showing here tonight. I'd say at least the top 5 to be looking looking good for the playoffs in the top 4. Obviously, Culture and Off-Road are at the bottom. They're looking to have a very good showing here tonight. Off-Road's been doing well on road courses this year, and like I said in the podcast, he's when he's good, he's extremely good. Like he's battling up for
Mhm.
the top 3, top 5 positions. But obviously, that's what he's looking for here this week. Obviously, Culture, as well as looking for that. But obviously, with Watkins, it's a track that many people race on. That we race on, I think, multiple times a year, almost every season. So it's a track that every driver in the field, or majority of the drivers in the field, should be very familiar with. So it should be producing some good racing, and hopefully we'll see the playoffs get shaken up yet again this week as well.
Yeah, playoffs shaken up. As you mentioned, Oracle jumped really high in the standings last week. So we're going to talk with him real quick. We're going to talk with him and see if we can also get Panda in here for pre-race playoff interviews. Panda, do you think you can connect through Xbox app? Because if you do, it should connect your mic automatically. I don't care if the quality is very janky or not.
Any mic's better than no mic.
Okay, just made the change. Panda. There we have Oracle in here. Oracle, make sure your mic is connected. Check off that audio box.
It is.
All right. Well, first we'll start with you, Oracle. You had a little bit of struggles in practice today. And I'm sure you know that's something that you don't want to have, especially since you had such a strong week last week, making the jump that you did in the point standings. But here you're qualifying just inside the top 10, I believe, with Vanquish getting pole. That would put you to 7th position according to the grid order that I have here. So you're starting inside the top 10 today. Are you just looking for a consistent run today because you're already well ahead in that second position, or what kind of race are you looking for to have today?
Consistent running. That's all I'm looking for.
Just consistency.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I kind of had interruptions middle of my qualifying run, but I can't take that for blame of my lack of speed. So, at least I ran consistent laps and didn't run a dirty lap at all in that qualifying session. I'm actually happy I could run 4 laps straight without running dirty laps. I was like running 109.8s for about half the practice session, wondering what the hell I'm doing. And then, next thing you know, I get 108s. I ran a 108.8 dirty and going wide in one corner. Just my luck. I haven't done much in this track lately, so whatever. We'll try to work on it. Starting 7th, so this might be a good send. It hopefully will be a repeat of last week. So started 7th last week. You know. Yeah. Alright.
Right. Well, good luck to you tonight, and hopefully you have a good show.
Alright. Appreciate it. See you guys.
Yep. And then Panda will do a quick check with you. If not, then we'll replace you here real quick. Okay, say a sentence. Mic check. Nope, it did not connect you. Alright, well, then I guess good luck to you either way, because I know you can hear me. Yeah, we'll see if we can get someone else in here then. Okay, who else do you think we should get in here?
I think
Playoff
we get
game.
off-road.
Off-road
Final
height?
answer. Yeah. Get in here.
Where is he? Oh, there he is. And we'll do off-road height.
No.
Hello. Off-road, make sure you check off that audio box. We did want to try and get Panda, but obviously with his mic troubles, it didn't automatically connect his mic, so you were next up.
Alright.
Alright, so off-road, you're coming into this race very far behind, but with your determination and how you've been practicing this week, and you have pretty fast running tonight. You had a pretty good qualifying run for yourself. Are you looking just to make up as much ground as you can tonight?
I think every race I'm going to go towards the top. I just think I'm going to lay low for probably start of the race. Try to just get my bearings down and get a rhythm going. And then I think if I'm towards the back, I'm just going to go do what I did last week at Road America and just try to go through the pack as fast as I can. But I'm going to try to be more safer this time and try to stay out of trouble.
Yeah, avoiding a lot of incidents, making sure you're running your smooth race is key. Watkins, it's a fairly popular track amongst NASCAR, a bunch of NASCAR leagues, racers, and drivers. So we have a packed house tonight, full lobby. Is that going to, do you think, more help or hurt playoff drivers with the amount of points that are actually available tonight?
I think it's all going to come down to the wire towards the end of the race. I think if you're farther towards the back, you're going to get hurt. If you're up front, I think you're going to have a well-gained point position. I just think it's where the dice will lie tonight.
All right, well, either way, good luck to you tonight. And hopefully you're able to gain up some more ground and then get away from that 9th spot.
I'm looking forward to it. I need to get away from there. All right.
Right, good luck.
Thank you.
Can you hear me, Ben?
We can test you real quick.
I plugged in some old earbuds that I had. I wonder if they'll work.
Oh, yep, we hear you.
Okay. We'll sneak in a quick interview.
Yeah, we'll sneak in a quick one real quick. Either way, Kart Racer, he is not in the lobby because he's running a separate qualifying lobby. Because we have more than 22 drivers attempting to make a lap. So, not everybody in this lobby is safe yet. A couple guys at the back, we're going to see if they're going to be able to sneak in or not. But you, Panda, you had some technical difficulties prior to even running a lap or anything like that. So, but here you qualified just outside the top 10. It looks like you're going to be in 11th position, so you're well safe. Going to be able to run tonight. Round 2 of the playoffs, you're looking to make up a lot of ground. You ran better than your average finishing position last week at Road America. So here, are you looking to try and find more of that consistency, especially with the points being so close amongst you and other drivers around you?
Yeah, going into the playoffs, it really amped up like my training regimen. I've been trying to put more laps in before the race. I think I did more laps before this race at this track than the race actually is. I think I did 100 plus, and we only have 60 laps in this race. I've been keeping up with my teammates, and I've been checking their times, and I feel pretty fast tonight. So I think I'm gonna try to make a big push tonight, try to get closer into that battle, because I think if I don't make a big run here, I'll be pretty much at a loss, and I'll have to really work my way up in the last 2 races. So the goal is top 7 tonight, hopefully, and if I can't do that, then we go into the rain race next weekend, and we put it all out on the table.
Yeah, laying it all out there. As of right now, you sitting behind in terms of the cutoff position. I believe you're sitting right at around 11 points just outside the cutoff position. So not a terrible gap to try and make up, but obviously a lot of fast drivers in front of you, especially road course ringers. So looking for a monstrous run for you tonight,
Yes,
and good luck to you
absolutely.
tonight.
Yep, thank you.
Yep, and now as we are waiting on confirmation from Kart Racer to see if anybody in that second lobby is going to set a lap time that might kick out a driver. So let's go over some drivers that might be at risk here. We have Subsonic, Marvel, Alpha Jaden. These guys, they qualified in the back 20, 21st, and 22nd. We don't know their exact lap times. We could check here in the previous race. I'll be real quick. Now with them all scattered around. Alpha Jaden, he had one clean lap at a 1:14.2. Then we'll see Subsonic. He's the one really on the bubble. He ran a 1:12.5 dirty. Then Marvel ran a 1:10.7 dirty. So that would actually place Marvel behind Subsonic. But Marvel ran that lap dirty, and the fastest dirty time goes to the back. And we don't quite know who is in the second lobby. We believe it's Back in Black trying to set a lap. Him and maybe 2 others trying to set a lap. So after that second qualifying lobby wraps up, we will have a grid order here. Oh, now we have Rocket in the chat. 4th place curse continues even in qualifying. Well, Rocket is not where you start, it's where you finish. Oh, and having concern for Subsonic. So, AK, like I did mention earlier with off-road being in here, whether if it helped or hurt playoff drivers with the amount of actual cars that we have in here, it's going to be a big field, and that's going to determine a lot of factors tonight for Watkins. Not that many turns on this road course, so it makes it you have a lot of speedy corners and all the runoff you're allowed to use. So what kind of racing could be expected here tonight?
Yeah, I think we'll see a lot of different lines through those corners with the runoffs. Obviously, turn 1 has that massive runoff split. I think we'll see some drivers use that runoff and some drivers not use it. I think it'll be a nice 50-50 split through there. Obviously, you have the second to last corner as well has that runoff. Again, I think that'll be another spot where we see multiple lanes used. So some people who do stay on the track, some people who go off hugely wide off and using all of the runoff, and some people who just use it a little bit. So I think it'll be a very interesting race tonight because a lot of different lines through some corners. Obviously, there's that very long straight at the back. You can't, obviously, without the chicane being there. I'm sorry, with the chicane being there. Sorry, it makes it so that you can't really push 3 wide. Even 2 wide, it can be risky through that chicane, and we've seen that time and time again where one driver pushes it 3 wide, and the 2 cars to the outside, if not all 3 cars, get spun. We have a massive traffic jam through there, and the caution gets called. And it wouldn't shock me if that might be our first caution tonight, in all honesty, with how many cars we have in the field. Somebody's bound to make that move, and if you don't have 3 skilled drivers in that 3 wide in that chicane, it spells disaster for both the 3 drivers going into that chicane and anyone who's behind them.
Yeah, that chicane that you're referring to, of course, is the bus stop, as a lot of other people like to call it. That two sections of the track right there, with the backstretch. Oh, Cart has rejoined the lobby, so we're going to see if anybody got kicked out. With the bus stop and the carousel turn, those are really big time opportunities. You can either gain a lot of time or lose a lot of time there on the track, and that really separates a lot of the runners in the field. As we saw there, Subsonic left the lobby. We don't know if he was told to leave because he got booted out, or...
I do think it was Tom. I think for was in the second lobby might have been.
Well, we will check. We will check real quick. And obviously, we're looking for confirmation from Cart and Culture, the owners. Okay, so just got confirmation from JDMX Culture. Subsonic has been knocked out of qualifying. So Subsonic is unable to race in the field today. And Back in Black is the driver who beat his time. So Back in Black in, Subsonic out. Now we can get the official grid order for you today. Vanquish on pole. MVP second. Tomato Drifts in third. Off-road to fourth. Rocket to fifth. Kart Racer to sixth. Oracle to seventh. Tauros IG to eighth. Reno to ninth. Culture to 10th. Panda will make 11th. 12th will be... I believe will be Jackson. Actually, no, not Jackson. Trying to find another driver in there. Got caught in the clip. But behind will go Jackson, Goosey, Raise Peasant, FM Esports, Deadpool, Smokey, Alpha Jaden, and Marvel. Not quite sure where Back in Black is in the lobby order. And I believe Culture is leaving the lobby, so then he can go start up the actual race lobby. And we will follow. ...60 race laps here tonight. Obviously, it's set to 61 for the pace lap. So with 60 laps being ran tonight, what kind of strategy could we be seeing here, AK? Could we have a little mix of everything?
I think we'll see upwards of probably 3 to 4 strategies here tonight. Just because obviously it's the laps on a road course. Obviously, it's not like Homestead or Indy where it's just where you have where it's just an oval and you're not really turning too much. Tire wear isn't really a factor there. Obviously, with road courses, tire wear can be a factor. It's not always a factor, but it's always fuel. Will always be at least part of a factor to this race. So I think we'll see 3 to 4 strategies. Obviously, we already know what one of those strategies I'm thinking are going to be for tonight, and we've seen it pretty much every week by at least one driver. Last week MVP tried to do it, but then got damaged and had to pit, so that kind of wrecked the Vegas strat for him, and then we knew what happened after that. But obviously, I do think we'll see at least one Vegas strategy here tonight, if not more than that. They seem to be more common on the road courses than they are the ovals. We seem to have multiple drivers try and do it on the road courses, and maybe 1 or 2 drivers try and do it on ovals. But other than that, obviously, we'll see multiple strategies, and I think team play will come in here as well. Obviously, there are teams in the league, so I think some teams will have set out laps for when drivers need to fuel up. So I think we'll see a couple different strategies here tonight.
Okay, so Coulter actually had a technical issue. He lagged out of the lobby. And so Kart Culture, they're discussing right now whether if they want to back everybody out, because everything is set up in the lobby. They just need to, Panda would, as he is the new lobby host, Panda would need to just set Culture to his new lobby position. So Kart Culture, they're discussing right now to see what they're going to do. If we have everybody readied up and everybody's gonna go green, then we assumed we're just gonna stay in this lobby, and then Culture would just get moved to his position.
At least Pearson's running up, besides Kart Culture.
Culture, he looks like he's pretty much at his position. Because with Vanquish getting pole, he actually wouldn't be 9th, he would be 10th, and that's where he's placed right now. Per the lobby settings. Yeah, we're just waiting on what exactly is going to happen. But we should get the lobby up and going. Or the race up and going here soon. I guess while we're waiting for everybody to ready up, make sure everybody's good to go. One thing that will be interesting here tonight is if you have a good solid running today, next week is going to be a kicker, because next race is Sebring in the rain. It's the second rain race that XRS is running this season, and first time we were at a very familiar track in the rain, the Homestead Road Course, and that it's one of the toughest courses on the circuit because of the rain, and that was, we saw a couple drivers struggle. We saw a couple drivers struggle in that race. Even Vanquish, it took him about around first quarter of the race for him to really adjust to the track, because drivers like Tython and even Kart Racer were running right up with Vanquish until Vanquish was finally able to get a hold of the track. Next week, it's a track that XRS has not been to, Sebring. So it's a fairly knowledgeable course that a lot of drivers have probably ran in the IMSA cars, but maybe not ran in the Cup cars. So AK, I'm sure that'll be an interesting factor. We saw it at earlier races this season, like at Hockenheim and Le Mans, tracks that you wouldn't think a Cup car would go there. So what other factors do you think could happen in that race if you for sure do not have a good race tonight?
Yeah, obviously, I'd like to think I'm at least a fairly decent rain racer myself, especially in these Cup cars. But the keys, obviously, if you don't do well here tonight, then you're sort of gambling on the rain Sebring. Like you said, not a track we've ran at, and on top of that, with the rain being added to it, it's going to be a huge gamble for anyone who doesn't place well here tonight. But really, keys for that race are just being very, very gentle on your throttle, especially in the rain, and also watching out for the giant puddles that form so you don't hydroplane on them. If you can sort of map out where those are, then you'll have a much easier time traversing the track, because when you hit those puddles, your car will either do one of two things. Either it will just slow down, or you may lose control. So if you can sort of map out where those giant puddles will form and where they are, it'll make your life a lot easier on those rain races. And I'm sure that was something that some of the drivers struggled with in the Homestead rain race. is that they couldn't map out those puddles, and they'd hit them lap after lap after lap, which either slowed them down or they lost grip from that.
All right, back in black, he placed in 13th, and RZX Cam was the driver that we missed in the 12th position. So those are the drivers that we missed. The grid order is set, and the lobby settings were preset before Culture lagged out. And drivers are in. And we'll get them to go pace here. So AK, as the drivers are going to start to get going here, quite a handful of there actually isn't that many tricky turns into this course. It's fairly simple. I would say the trickiest turns have to be the bus stop and that carousel, where you gain and lose the most time. But right here, like you said, turn 1, a lot of lanes and a lot of opportunity right from the get-go.
Yeah, and with there being such a big runoff, it really just comes down to what drivers prefer. Obviously, with that big runoff, you can keep a fair amount of speed up for such a sharp corner, or you can just lower your speed but get the nice cut on the inside and just follow the rumble strip through. So I think, like I said, I think we could see 3 wide coming into sort of the bottleneck where you have to merge back onto the track. So it could be a place where you can make a lot of passes or lose a lot of positions, but both lanes provide about the same timing to get through them, and not one's a huge advantage over the other, maybe a couple tenths of a second, but it's nothing huge per se.
Yep, as the field makes their way single file right now through. They are in the bus stop right now, riding along with Rocket in the wheel-to-wheel podcast car that he made himself. Now, cars are going to get double up here, here on the backstretch. A lot of pressure going on, and everybody you just want to have a good run tonight. It's Watkins Glen, should be a fun night.
And another incentive here tonight is the amount of cars that are here. Obviously, it can be good for you, but it also can be bad for you. And the scenario is if you do well, but another playoff driver doesn't do well. Let's say Oracle places 3rd, but Panda places 17th. Obviously, that helps Oracle a lot, but the same thing is on the other side of the coin. If Oracle goes 17th, but Panda places 3rd, obviously Panda is going to have a lot of help.
Cars make their way through turn 7, and it's Vanquish MVP controlling the field. Round 2 of the playoffs is underway. Green flag is in the air.
See if anyone misses braking. For braking zones. No, fairly clean for there.
Oracle just a slight bit wide. A lot of drivers taking advantage of that wide runoff right away. You are allowed to use all the runoff on the track. You're just not allowed to corner cut. And Cart Rocket almost getting together up the hill and through the S's.
Oh, I'm seeing a lot of cars pushing it 3 wide. Back in blacks in the grass for pretty much the entire back straight or front stretch, I guess. That was very risky. 2 cars into the wall. It's Panda. Just coming into the carousel, you got connected with Taurus IG. Taurus IG just scraped the wall, but Panda hit it dead on. I don't know if he has damage or not, though.
He's running at speed. It doesn't look like he has any damage. 3 wide down the backstretch with Ray's Peasant and others, along with Panda. And Panda actually goes wide into the sand trap in turn 6. Not a good start for him.
He may be running at full speed, but he might have suspension and brake damage, which might be why he just ran that wide. That's another thing you have to look out for, because you will not realize that you have that damage, especially the brake damage, until you go to brake.
Looks like he does not. No, he actually does not have damage. Running the damage info, the player info on the car, and he does not have damage.
That must be just a miss braking zone for Panda, so obviously not how he wanted to start his night.
They were 3 wide there, so a couple cars could have got tangled together. Vanquish obviously leads the first lap, and he is now making good use and pulling away. MVP got into the lobby around last second, That could have been a whole different story if MVP was unable to make the race tonight.
Yeah, that would obviously have huge playoff implications, obviously. For one of the top contenders for the Final Four. So if he were to miss that race, he would have dug himself a massive hole to get out of for the next 2 races, I believe, until the Final Four.
And MVP trying to get away here, or not quite, from Tomato Drifts. Tomato, I believe he did not run last week at Road America Short. But he was a big factor in helping all of the Pepsi/Great Clips cars over at Daytona. Obviously, Tomato getting the win at Daytona. He has a good run up the hill on MVP, going to back off before the bus stop.
Yeah, you look throughout the field right now, there's a lot of small packs that have sort of formed throughout the about a 0.5 mile line along the track. So it's not too spread out right now. And for a road course, that's sort of a little bit shocking when we're 5 laps into it. There's not, everyone's pretty much in a pack of some sort of about 3 cars or more, besides for obviously the first 3 leaders. But most of the field is pretty much grouped up still, so still some time for a lot of exciting racing.
Yeah, Tomato, he tried to catch back up to MVP, now just lagging back just a little bit. Right along with Culture, just inside the top 10 in the 9th position. And actually in front of him, there's a quite good battle going on between RZX Cam and Off-Road Hype. Fighting for the 7th position is Oracle. He's made his way up to the 6th spot after starting just inside the top 10.
A smart move there by Off-Road, realizing that the chicanes aren't really the best spot to be too wide, so Off-Road sort of backed out of it just before the chicane. Sort of a smart move. Not wanting to be too risky right at the beginning of this race, so he's going to just play it cool, not make too many aggressive moves by the looks of it, just by how he's racing. But obviously, if an opportunity arises, he will obviously take any spot he can get.
Following his plan, like he told us in the pre-race, he just wants to be more consistent, looking for a solid run, and being able to just push the aggression when it counts. Okay, it's early on, you don't need to push the aggression this early. And it's not something that, okay, a wreck now can set you all the way to the back of the field, and who knows how long it's going to take for you to climb back up.
Yeah, and especially like we said at the beginning, when it's max field like this, you do not want to be at the back of the field because most of these playoff drivers are in that top 15 placement, right? So if you have a 17th place day, you're going to lose a lot of ground to a lot of different playoff drivers, which is not something many drivers want.
Culture hit the wall entering the bus stop a little bit. Let's see if that gave him damage or not. And he does not. He does not have damage from that. So, got very lucky. He didn't hit the wall too hard there. Meanwhile, a cluster of cars in front of him just inside the top 10. Jack and Off-Road fighting for the 7th spot. D-Dog and Cam catching up in 9th and 10th.
Yeah, Cam went wide coming out of the carousel and he lost about 3 spots before he got all the way to that grass, so just before the runoff started. But he lost about 3 spots for that, so obviously Cam's going to try and make his way back up as he's trying to challenge D-Dog for that 9th position.
And you see D-Dog right there on the back deck lid saying Racing for Covenant. That is referring to the Nashville school shooting that happened. So a tribute scheme that D-Dog is running tonight. A memoriam for those who lost their lives.
Jackson just about hit the tire wall coming actually into the carousel. There was a black tire wall on the low side. Jackson got a little bit loose coming out of the final turn of the chicane, and actually tried to correct it and almost incorrected it into that tire wall. But all that happened is he just went off track a little bit, lost a little bit of time, luckily for himself. instead of hitting that tire wall.
Cam now gains up on time on D-Dog. And Jankum, that is correct. Your eyes are correct. You saw Wade. Alpha Jaden, here he is, running in the 11th position. Yeah, Alpha Jaden, his old gamer tag that when he used to compete in XRS full time was the King Wade. That was his gamer tag. Obviously under a different name, but same person. He came back originally last week for Road America, and we talked with him. He said he does plan on making more XRS starts, but is not planning on coming back full time.
Yeah, and that's just how some drivers do it. They don't really, they just race for fun. They're not racing for anything specific. They'll come every now and again just to race for fun, be a little bit competitive here and there. But, I mean, that's just how some drivers like to do it, and obviously nobody's going to turn them down for it.
Yeah, one car has made themselves one lap down, that being Deadpool, and then Race Peasant being chased by Vanquish right now, so very shortly he could become a lap down. Afterwards, Smokey back in the 20th position, still quite a bit of gap between him and Vanquish, and then Marvel in 19th, FM in 18th, Panda in 17th, after that lap 1 incident involving himself. So not a good start to his day. Taurus IG in 16th. We have JW Reno in 15th. Right along with Reno here. Still running his Reinhardt Wiffle Ball Club scheme. As he ran from last week. Did we just have someone lag out? No, we did not. We still have 22. Still have 22. Panda made his way to 16th. Now Reno 17th, so Reno just had an error.
Yeah, obviously not.
Yeah, so Reno was just involved in something. He has no damage, so I'm curious if the lobby settings are not quite correct, because we've had two drivers that had gone off course, like Panda, and he didn't get any damage. We saw a Culture on stream hit the wall. There's no damage there. So I'm curious if the lobby settings are potentially incorrect here.
We have seen this in the past, but sometimes it is just Forza and the odd physics that just don't give damage. Because I know I've seen some people clip that wall and races past the tire wall just at the end of that wall in the chicane and not get damage from that. I've even done that myself. So it could be just some luck, but obviously something to look at. Case.
Right back on to the top 3 positions here. Vanquish pulled away. MVP still second. Tomato still in third. Rays, he got out of the way for MVP and Tomato. I'm assuming he did the same for Vanquish. Who do we have in pit road?
Car and pits.
Kart Racer?
Yep.
That he is. Kart Racer to pit road. We'll see if any of his Shift Motorsport teammates tag along to join in. Kart Racer in the new scheme. C4 Energy. I have a couple interesting paint schemes tonight. We can go through the field as we look at those. Vanquish, he's in. Never mind. What's going on? Oh, there is someone.
Yeah, you see that too?
Yeah, at the bus stop?
Yeah. That's why I said that.
Oh, that's Ray's, yeah.
Yeah, Ray's is just parked it by the looks of it.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's spun and just waiting to get back in, or if he's just parked it.
And of course, Ray's in the K2 machine is in Among Us car. Yeah. Like you said, oh, he actually has engine damage.
Oh.
So, potential shifting errors there. So if he has engine damage, then damage should be turned on.
I just wonder if it's forced on.
That is true. Anyway, well, going through, now we can go through paint schemes. Vanquish, He's in an initial D car. This scheme was actually not made by Vanquish. It was made by beating a Culture, which would explain the initial D. So, Culture made that car for him. Second place, we've seen MVP run this scheme for the last handful of weeks. This course being based off of the Kyle Busch Lucas Oil scheme that he ran, I believe it was Fontana, California. Kyle Busch run this, except he's running it on a Toyota. Tomato drifts in third. He's in the generic Pepsi scheme that we've seen a lot of those guys run. Tomato, Oracle, Tython, all these guys running it with those same car. Just similar layout, different colors. Rocket we have in the fourth position in a reel-to-reel podcast car. Hey! The XRS Reel-to-Reel podcast. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you tune in for the XRS Reel-to-Reel podcast whenever we go live, because for the most part, it is based off of guest availability that determines when we go live. And on his back bumper it says "Bring back Rocket." Rocket, we can't have you too many times, so we will see you the next time. And as we see a battle for fifth going on between Jackson and Oracle. Oracle in a classic Pepsi Cola scheme. And Jackson in a number 98 Monster Energy car. It has a gear wrench on it, so I wonder if this is more based off of a Kurt Busch Monster Energy car when he was with Chip Ganassi Racing. He gets under him a little bit, gets tagged, and now went wide a little bit off the final corner. Off-road hype. Scooting in front of him now.
Yeah, I've been watching Jackson and Oracle. They've been going at it.
Yeah, we do. Yep, we have a caution.
Under caution. Well, I was watching Jackson and Oracle, and they've been going at it for probably about 7 or 8 laps by this point now.
Well, now they were racing back to position for the line. But Oracle able to get the spot off-road, it was able to overtake Jackson. I believe Jackson actually... Where is Jackson? He just DNF'd. He left the lobby.
Oh.
Oh, well, that settles where he went. So Oracle
Oh, there it
says...
is. There it is. Wondering why we didn't get that.
Yeah, I'm wondering how long it was going to take for us to get the Forza logo. Well, and actually, it happened right as I was switching to another driver. So it might have just been elongated, and Goosey just DNF'd as well.
Huh.
So 2 DNFs back-to-back. Off-road, running a very much a Dale Earnhardt Sr. inspired scheme.
No, it couldn't be.
So this time it's more Toyota rather than Goodwrench. Alpha Jaden running a Alex Bowman inspired number 48 Ally Chevrolet. Then RZX Cam, he's been running this particular sponsorship I Buy Power car, but I actually don't know if this is a car made by him or because I have not seen this actual car ran in a real race.
Oh. Alpha Jaden will be the first one not to take.
Everybody except Alpha Jaden.
Alpha Jaden, I think 3 other cars? Maybe? I don't know if those are lap cars or not.
Jankum has a question in the chat. Is there a race plan for next week? Yes, there is, Jankum. Next week, XRS will continue the playoffs to round 3. And we will be at Sebring Full Circuit, and it is a rain race. So Sebring Full Circuit in the rain. Then Rocket actually answered our question about Cam's car. Cam's car is a Owltone Designs car. So Owltone, yes, great designer indeed, Rocket. Because Owl, I believe that's Arctic Owl, the one who runs Owltone Designs. He has worked with XRS in the past. He's sponsored 2 races Arctic Owl has for Owltone Designs, so great to have more people running schemes there. And Jankum says, see you there for Sebring in the rain. So Jenkin could be back next week.
As obviously, one thing you mentioned at the beginning of the race is pit strategy. With the caution, this puts Cart with 85% fuel up into second place. So, at least for now, a good strategy for Cart. Only 4 cars did stay out, by the way. That would be Alpha Jaden, Cart, Smokey, and Reno. I don't know if Reno's running the same strategy. It would seem Reno's running the same strategy as Cart. Obviously, those two are teammates, so it doesn't shock anyone there.
Yeah, teammates, they might have been running similar pit strats here. Waiting for the field to get caught back up. As they are double file, that means we should be going green this time, unless there's a hiccup. Let's ride along to first car that went into pit road, being Vanquish. Watch that 39. Rocket, not that good of a position, but we'll see here for the restart. Jaden takes off.
Car already in the grass.
That's Rocket. Rocket got into the grass. Oh, Smokey missed his braking point just a little bit. Goes wide.
About 3x2 there for a couple seconds.
Vanquish MVP side by side for third place.
Oh, off-road at the wall. And back in black, none of them spin, but it was a hard hit from off-road. I think he does have damage, because he looks a little slow compared to everyone else.
Let's go back to him as Reno off track in the bus stop.
Does not have damage.
Whoa!
Smokey almost
Cars
around as
getting
well.
together. Tomato, a big cluster right now going on past the carousel. Everybody trying to get out of Dodge there.
Oh!
Oracle tagged by Cam in turn 6.
Good save by Oracle.
Yeah, great save right there. Sure, Oracle not too happy about that. Oh. The Forza logo pop up. We'll see if that caused somebody. Culture getting loose again under braking, and that's Deadpool. Deadpool was the one that we lost. So now, through all that shuffling, Alpha Jaden remains the leader, Kart Racer second, Vanquish in third, battling MVP in fourth, and then Tomato to fifth, Rocket to sixth, Cam to seventh, and Culture missed it! Oh, you hear it. His car's damaged.
Yeah, no, he's done.
Oh, yes. Yeah, he's 100% on everything.
That will bring out the caution, I would imagine. Well, actually, I don't know. I don't know if we were past caution interval or not.
We will see if we were past caution interval or not. Wade crosses the line, and he's still going full throttle, so no caution called. Kart Racer diving inside, turn 1, fighting for the lead. And Vanquish is there. Them battling. Kart Racer making that dive bomb. Vanquish is on a mission. He has those fresh tires.
With Culture obviously hitting that wall and being damaged at about the halfway point of the track, there's a good possibility he goes 2 laps down, which is if he can't get those 2 laps back from cautions or just racing his way back through the field, that could have some playoff implications, at least a little bit.
Vanquish getting physical with Kart Racer here. Going into the final 2 turns. Vanquish going to get hung on the outside here in 6. Kart going to try and shove him a little wide. Vanquish tries a crossover for 7. MVP now there. Almost 3 wide. No, not quite. Kart Racer gets loose. MVP, Jaden, Vanquish, all try to take advantage. 3 wide at the stripe for first.
Caution.
And with that, Vanquish did secure first.
Maybe 4 whoever's back there, if I can get back there.
We have 2 cars in pit road, and now the Forza logo once more.
Okay. That wasn't just Marvel? Oh.
We're gonna see culture.
Reno?
Culture.
Maybe. Was it
JDMX
Culture?
JDMX culture. DNF on pit road.
Oh. I thought you were talking about what the clock was for.
No. Culture. He's out of the race.
Well, that definitely has playoff implications then.
That is massive.
Yeah. I think the yellow was Reno, because Reno's in pit road and he did need fuel by no means. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's Reno. As for what happened, I don't know, but
That is
yeah.
big. Culture being he needed a good race. He was at 8th, 240 or 2040 points. And with him being out, he's going to get placed, I believe, in the 19th position. That's where he would be placed?
Yes. Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. Yeah, so he would be placed in the 19th position. So now every playoff driver is going to gain points on him.
Yeah. Obviously, the ninth place playoff driver off-road, this is great for him. Anyone around him, it's pretty good because it just gives him a better bubble from culture. But the one that affects probably the most is probably off-road.
Okay, I think Vanquish and MVP just memed. They went into pit road.
Well, I mean,
They
you got
just-
a couple repeats
they-
like Oracle.
They just pit at the final car, before that last restart, and now they went into pit road again.
There's a couple cars that did that, but you know, maybe they know something we don't. You know, that's
Maybe that could be
that makes
that
the
could be all
strategy
the difference. Mm-hmm.
3 thus far.
3 different ones, so
I'm keeping track so far. I said, what, 3 to 4, I said? So, I mean, I'm looking good
Yeah.
so far.
you look. No, I'm not gonna say that. Okay, so kart racer.
That's the second thought.
Kart racer and the C4 energy car. We never finished looking at paint schemes here. Rocket we looked at, Tomato we looked at, D-Dog we looked at, Panda we did not look at. And Panda, he's actually running a pretty interesting scheme tonight. Panda, as he talked about on his episode for the podcast, he actually races karts IRL. He races pretty much road course asphalt go-karts, if you think about it, or race karts. And this is actually similar to the scheme that he runs on his kart. So his color scheme that he's running today, very meaningful to him. Off-road we looked at. Taurus IG we did not look at, I believe. Yes, we did not, because I would have remembered this thing. This is... What is this, Taurus? A 77... Very interesting. Back in black in a McDonald's car. It's actually pretty interesting. You typically see back in black in the Chase Elliott scheme since he runs the 9. Well, we'll see here if Back in Black's going to do anything on this restart. Jaden and Kart Racer leading the field. And green flag back out.
Well, we'll see if
Oh,
we have-
Vanquish got a great start all the way at the back. Into turn
happens
1.
This time by...
MVP dive
Around.
bombing back in black cars around. That's Tomato. Rocket also clipped. Spinning right in front of the field. Nobody hits Rocket. Miraculously. Don't hit either of them.
Another car
Off-road!
around,
Tagged by
off-road.
back in black.
MVP's involved.
And into the wall he goes. MVP, Reno, Marvel.
Marvel's in it as well. Smokey barely dodges it.
And wow.
Damage to Oracle.
As we have another car up ahead who cut the cut the turn just before the carousel. That was Taurus. Taurus IG. He cut the corner.
MVP with damage, Oracle with damage, Tomato with damage.
Not good for
FM has damage.
not good for anybody as all those cars getting damaged while they're still scrambling a little bit in the front.
Marvel also
Vanquish
damage,
making
so
his way.
all the cars in that secondary wreck all have damage, at least somewhere on their car.
And Off-Road is killed pretty much on this backstretch.
I don't know if I don't know if, I think we might be one car off from that caution. Ignoring the caution interval, 13th on back.
Well, Off-Road, we have 18 in the field. We have 18 in the field, so you do 18 divided by 2. And then if it's Off-Road getting out of the way since he's damaged in the carousel. So essentially you take whatever the car count is, divide it by 2. And if you have a decimal number, you round up, so then it's a little bit over half. So, but with 18, that brings you to 9. So, Off-Road 1, FM 2, Tomato 3, MVP 4.
It was
Marvel
13th on
5.
back because Oracle was the first one to pay them damage to cars.
And then Oracle 6. So that puts you 3 cars short of the 9 car incidents that need to happen. That would need to happen to ignore the caution interval. Off-Road finally makes his way back to pit road.
Oh, that
So
definitely
shakes up the field, yeah.
Yeah, playoff grid and the field as of right now, because I believe at least 3 or 4 playoff drivers were involved in those wrecks.
Yeah, we had Off-Road involved in that. Oracle was involved.
MVP.
MVP. So, just a handful.
Was Reno in it? I don't think Reno was in it, was he?
I don't believe Reno was in it. He might have been around it trying to avoid it, but I don't believe he was actually in it.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, Reno's up to 9th and he's fine.
Ooh.
Oh,
Cart slams the wall.
Yeah.
No damage from him though.
And so now we have Vanquish trying to chase down Alpha Jaden for the race lead. Because after all that, Jaden, he pulled away to about a 1.5-second lead. As now Vanquish is trying his best to make up ground, and he will make up ground. He had a very fast...
Whoa! Off-road again, Alpha Jaden's involved, that was the leader. Playoff driver and leader involved.
He was the one who hit the tire barrier. The leader.
Well, implications on both the race and the playoffs. Because we're going to go out on limits if both drivers have damage.
Vanquish never got near him. It was Marvel.
Alpha Jaden with damage. And I'm gonna say
Caution is
Off-Road
up.
has. Yeah. Off-Road and Jaden both with damage.
Off-Road was there?
Yep, Off-Road was the one that got involved in it. Off-Road, I'm going to assume
All I
either
saw,
hit the tire wall.
all I saw Jaden hit the tire wall. I didn't see Off-Road hit it.
No, Off-Road is
Well,
100% on everything.
Oh yeah, he is damaged. I see that. But I didn't. I'm saying for the actual stream, we didn't see Off-Road. Guess it was because we were viewing the replay camera, and the replay camera just didn't catch Off-Road there.
I don't know if Off-Road was a separate incident, but he was right there. I don't know if he got involved or was it part of his own incident. Maybe part of the reason.
All I know is that in the replay cam, we saw Alpha entering the bus stop, and he pretty much flipped. He flipped and hit the tire barrier. Because we were initially riding along, I believe it was Vanquish we were riding along with.
Yeah, I was riding with Carton 4th and seeing both of them right next to each other. Didn't see what happened.
So, not something you want to see.
Especially if you're off-road, who is that ninth playoff driver, who needs a good running both here and at the next race.
Yep, and now this is going to place off-road all the way back to 18th, and that's going to place Alpha Jaden back to 12th. Couple drivers fake pitting here, and the first one to go in, I believe, is Rocket. Yep, and Rocket is in pit road along with Alpha Jaden.
Well,
Smoky Unic also following.
If the first 26 laps say anything, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the playoff points will be scattered after this race. Because a lot of the playoff drivers have been involved in incidents, at least thus far. Pretty much almost every playoff driver has been involved in at least one incident, besides, I think, Kart, D-Dog, and Vanquish at this point.
Mm-hmm. So it will be very interesting to see how this field's going to play out. We haven't even reached the halfway point in this race.
Yeah, we haven't even reached the halfway point. We're already seeing a lot of movement and a couple of wrecks here or there, but nothing really too much. As long as we can get going, I feel like if we can get a couple of good green flag laps, and I think we'll have a longer green flag run. It's just because obviously with so many cars walking on those, obviously on the long straights like through here where the field's going through now, it's a fairly tight area. So I feel like that's part of the reason why we're getting so many drivers spinning out early on, is just because there's so many cars on partly narrow track. Obviously, some of these sharper corners have that runoff area. That's why I say partly.
And Vanquish, leading the field back to green with D-Dog to his inside. Two Shift Motorsport drivers behind him. Actually, 3 Shift Motorsport drivers with Panda. Cam being fairly aggressive there on the restart, trying to make his way back through the field. And as behind him, it's Back in Black and Reno.
Some drivers I think we'll see getting aggressive are those playoff drivers that are farther back off-road. MVP.
Whoa! A lot of drivers went wide in the bus stop.
Oh, and that causes a Reno around. Off the bumper of Toros, he went back on track, but wasn't quite clear. Don't know if he has damage or not. Another car around. That's D-Dog. MVP slams into him. Ray's also collected. MVP, D-Dog, both damaged.
Damn, yeah.
MVP just had nowhere to go. D-Dog was stopped on track after hitting the wall. Obviously, not D-Dog's fault that he was stopped on track. But MVP just had nowhere to go, could not turn to his inside as he had a car on the inside and just couldn't stop in time.
Yeah, and that has separated a lot more playoff drivers, so I mean, here approaching the halfway mark, you can only expect if now already half the race is gone and a lot of drivers going to be set back from this. I would assume there's going to be a lot more elbows out than usual now.
Yeah, and like we said, with the big field like this, which at one point was 22 cars, now I believe it's 18 cars, that's still a very large point gap. If a driver places well at this point, let's say MVP places 18th, and let's say Oracle places 3rd or 2nd or 4th, Oracle's going to gain a lot of points and make a bigger headway over MVP, and obviously MVP will go down in the point standings, who is someone who needs to have a fairly good ride here to maybe try and get into that top 4. Obviously, MVP's the first driver on the outside looking in, so he needs to get a good run here tonight.
Yeah, with him being 2 points behind, his playoff point cushion that he had entering into this race, entering into the playoffs, it's gone. After he had that Forza pit glitch happen to him last week at Road America, he no longer has a cushion. He's actively in that playoff fight trying to get into the top 4. And a driver having himself a day that he wanted to have a day right now is Panda. He's up to that 3rd position, trying to hold off Oracle. Yeah, because with D-Dog, MVP, Off-Road, a lot of guys who qualified up there near that top 5, Panda, he's taking advantage of it.
Yeah, somebody who was hoping to take advantage of it right now is MVP, because obviously D-Dog was part of that wreck. D-Dog, the 4th playoff driver currently. So if MVP could have been up there, this could have been a huge opportunity for MVP to gain points.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, like you said, Panda, I believe is what, 5th in the playoffs right now. So obviously,
5th in
having the day that
playoffs? I don't believe he's 5th in the playoffs. Panda
sorry, not 5th.
is 7th.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said 5th there. I'm gonna be honest, but obviously, somebody who needs these points and needs one of the top 4, such as D-Dog, to not have a great day himself. Obviously, this is exactly the situation Panda wants to see himself in right now, especially towards the end of this race.
Yeah, but now he's slowly starting to lose ground a little bit. He practically let Oracle go on by, fighting him hard for the position. Now he's battling with Rocket side by side in the carousel. So Panda losing a handful of positions, but I mean, still, if Panda gets shuffled to 5th, that would be ahead his average finishing position that he had. Because obviously, average day for Panda would be sitting just at the top 10. And now trying to cross over on Rocket. Not able quite to get that run. Looking back behind Panda and Rocket as they're still fighting out for the 5th position, or the 4th position, 4th and 5th being Cam in the 6th position.
Yeah. Currently inside that top 10, there's only 4 playoff drivers out of the potential 9, so majority of the field right now is outside of that top 10 position, at least playoff driver-wise.
Yeah, man, I mean, you never quite know what to expect. We have a handful of drivers who are in this race that either initially were not planning on to compete. Excuse me, sorry. Sorry about that. Oh. We have a handful of drivers who are in this race that typically don't compete in XRS full time, and so that takes up a lot of lobby spots. I mean, Subsonic, he got kicked out because Back in Black, who doesn't show up so often, decides to show up here tonight, and he was able to get a time faster than Sub.
I currently just found a driver who's already saving fuel. That would be Vanquish, so he's going to try and make this, by the looks of it, as long as he can. I don't know if he thinks he can make it to the end. I don't think he does, but I think he's just trying to make his fuel last as long as physically possible. And just trying to make the most of his fuel right now. So obviously, Vanquish already saving. I don't know how many drivers are actually saving right now. I think he might be, and would be the only one trying to save right now. So he's going to look for a long fuel run right now.
Well, Vanquish being a driver who I think can actually save the most fuel in the field, because he very much is the fastest in the field. MVP is nowhere near him, so he doesn't need to worry about battling with him. And him being able to have that ability just to easily pull away from second and third, excuse me, Oracle and Kart Racer, who are actually battling right now. So, I mean, Vanquish, of course, can save the most.
Yeah, and I don't know if he's trying to save just to extend his fuel run or saving because he thinks he might be able to make it to the end. I'm assuming first option between the two.
Well, Vanquish, he typically doesn't have a pit strategy, so my guess is that he's just trying to extend this tank as much as he can because, well, he doesn't have a strategy. So he's just going to pit whenever he can, but he doesn't quite know when that next yellow is going to come out.
Yeah. And the yellows are what's going to shake up this race the most, obviously because drivers like off-road right now, obviously a playoff driver 2 laps down, 2 cautions, and he's not necessarily back in the race, but he has a better shot in this race. So obviously, cautions are what's going to shake up this race the most, and the playoff points the most, because obviously it's where a lot of drivers make up most of their positions off the restarts in that first 3 to 4 lap window.
Driver who's been shuffled a little bit back and forth throughout the field has made his way back to the top 10, being Reno. Reno sitting in 10th. Right now, nobody near him because there's a gap between him and Ray's Peasant, and then there's a gap between him and Torres. So just sitting where he is right now, trying to make some hot laps, trying to get caught back up to that lead pack of the field. And then he can just make up as much ground as he can.
Yeah, that's one of those positions where you don't mind if a caution comes out, but you also don't mind if a caution doesn't come out, because the top 10 isn't horrible points-wise, but also you want to kind of get a couple more positions. You're sort of in that gray area, so if a caution does come out, it probably won't hurt you too much, but you probably also are fine if it doesn't come out.
And Reno, actually, we were talking about him. He cut that last corner in the bus stop, which is a common corner that drivers cut typically. But behind him, Ray's got into the wall a little bit. Goes to pit road. And that's a corner that we've seen a handful of drivers miss already. Reno, we just saw him miss it. Toros, I believe, missed it earlier in the race. And also Rays might have missed it earlier as well. So it's a common corner to miss, but you're not allowed to corner cut.
Yeah, and usually how that happens is you sort of brake maybe a little too much coming into that bus stop. So you try and gain a little more out of the middle of it, and you just get a little too much out of that middle section, and you just cut the end of it like some of these drivers are. That's usually how it happens, or the other way is you just come in just a little too hot into the first section, and that carries through all the way to the final part of that bus stop.
Going through the field right now, Vanquish the leader, Oracle second, Rocket up to third now. And in reality, Oracle, Rocket, Heart Racer, Alpha Jaden, Panda, and Cam, that is the general pack, quote unquote, because they're the closest in proximity to each other, and they're all battling, obviously, for position. No lap cars between them.
Someone who's
Cam's
running,
trying to make up some ground.
somebody who's running very well, at least for the time being, is Oracle. He's up in second. Obviously, Vanquish has a fairly big gap on him, and there's not a huge gap to third, which is Rocket, who's just behind him here, pretty much on his bumper. But even like a second or fourth is very good, especially with how scattered the playoff drivers are right now. A second here tonight could be very big for whoever may get it.
Yeah, it might be very big, and obviously if Oracle is able to finish and keep this consistency to finish it on podium, that would give him 2 podiums in a row, as he got the podium last week at Road America.
Which obviously coming into next week's race, which I think we can both agree is a lot harder, especially with the rain.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
We'll give him not necessarily a huge bubble to play with, but obviously a sort of a comfort where he can maybe not perform as good as he's been doing so far in the playoffs, maybe top 10, and he'll still be in the top 4 and have a little bit of wiggle room coming into next race. So obviously something that he really needs and really wants coming into the next race.
Podium consistency and all of those things determine many factors. And then obviously after next week we have the final transfer race being Indianapolis. And Indianapolis, just like how it was at Daytona, trying to figure out all the math, that's where we determine who's in, who's out, and who's going to be able to fight for a championship at Miami. Jaden has made his way to pit road now.
I think for Jaden, this is sort of potentially a final stop. I don't know if he can quite go all the way, and if he's just...
Well, we're getting closer to that 20 laps to go mark, and this is very much where, yes, you probably will have enough fuel. Kart Racer, when he was running practice earlier, he actually ran out of fuel during his practice run, and he ran out of fuel on, I think he ran out on lap 26, 25-ish is when he ran out of fuel. So I think here, just outside 20 to go, we could see a lot of drivers making their final stop of the race.
Yeah, and obviously Alpha Jaden didn't get involved in the last wreck, so that's sort of why I was mentioning that, because obviously he didn't need fuel when he went in. This is just to top up to make sure he can make it to the rest and through the rest of the race, which could be a very good strategy here, obviously being one of the first cars to come in who knows he can most likely make it unless he's burning a lot of fuel per lap, which obviously we don't think he will. So a good chance that he makes it through the rest of the race. So obviously it could be a very good strategy for Jaden, who's in 9th place. So he's not too terribly far off position-wise to try and maybe...
Now Reno to pits.
To try and maybe get a couple positions off this strap.
One car went off track, turn 6. That is Marvel. He doesn't have any damage from it, so he was just off track.
And that's something we've seen early on, is a couple of cars having to adjust. Obviously, we've seen Panda go off track there at the beginning without damage, but just some cars obviously just maybe zoned out for a second, went into a turn and just missed it, or even just missing the braking spot as kart goes wide in the final section of the bus stop. Has to cut the track a little bit.
Running along here outside the top 10 is MVP in 11th, who is trying to make up ground after that incident between him and D-Dog. D-Dog, he hasn't quite recovered from that incident. He's all the way back to 17th. Off-Road Hype still 2 laps down in 18th. D-Dog being 1 lap down as well. And Reno is back to 13th after the pit cycle. MVP in 11th, trying to make his way back up to that top 3 positioning. Alpha Jaden, after making his green flag stop and after others going through, he's back to 8th. Kart Racer to 7th. Vanquish is in 6th. Cam is in 5th. Panda 4th. Then you have Oracle and Rocket, now the leaders.
Yeah, obviously Vanquish did go into pit there. Obviously just trying to top up, so he figured out that he just wasn't going to save much more and he was just going to go in and pit. But actually Oracle, well, I expect to see coming in the next couple of laps. He's on just above 25% on fuel. As for Rocket, he's at 40% fuel, so he can probably make it a couple more laps before he absolutely needs to come in. Oracle, on the other hand, probably would be smart to come in the next couple of laps just to try and maintain a good position, not try and risk anything too much here.
Well, and we'll see. We'll ride along close to the top 2, Oracle and Rocket just ahead. We'll see when they will make their final pit stops here.
Yeah,
there's somewhat a good spread in the field.
Yeah, especially playoff driver-wise. They're pretty much sprinkled throughout the field. They're not really clumped together, the playoff drivers. And there's usually a car between playoff drivers. If you go through the field and just look, there's off-road 18th, you have D-Dog 16th, you have Reno 12th, MVP 10th, Kart Racer 7th, Vanquish 6th, Panda 4th, and Oracle in 2nd. So your playoff drivers are pretty much sprinkled throughout the field. They're almost in every spot of the field. So this will probably shake up the playoff points. If they were to finish like this, it would shake it up a ton with who's where and where everyone is.
It would definitely shake it up quite a bit. Not so much for, let's say, off-road, because he was all the way in that 9th spot anyway, being back where he is. But Culture, he was in that 8th spot, and even then, off-road is slightly outpacing him because Culture obviously not in the lobby. Panda having himself a good day, having just around hovering the top 5. And Reno, he's all the way back to 12th. MVP trying to make his way back, trying to rally. Kart Racer back, battling with Jaden in 8th. He nearly got around with him. D-Dog having himself a bad day, got into an incident with MVP. Oracle having a good day, and Vanquish is Vanquish. So, everybody running their race, running their time. So, it could get scattered quite a bit here. Panda, he's making his pit stop right now. I believe it's going to shuffle him back to around the 9th spot, if I were to guess. Or maybe not even. Might set him back only to around 7th.
Yeah, right now, if I'm Oracle, I'm probably putting either this lap or the next lap being on 16%. At worst, he's going to lose. He's going to go down to 3rd and might have to battle 4th. So right now, probably this lap or next lap would probably be a very good lap just to come in, because you're not going to... His tires are decently cooked, but they're not horrible. His front 2 tires are just above that 50% mark, while his back tires are just above that 35% mark. So he's not going to lose too much time, but obviously you want to play a little safe on fuel.
His tires are not really the concern at the moment, and in fuel, everybody could pit right now and be safe to the end of the run, no matter how consistent you're running, no matter if we have no cautions or 20 cautions. It doesn't really matter to that point of where you're at. So it truly is a matter of when are you trying to battle or get ahead of another guy. And in Rocket and Oracle's case, it might be they're trying to run the tank out. As we look, let's look at Rocket sitting at 26% right now, and he's battling FM. FM now or one lap down. So at the line, Rocket's at 25% on fuel. Oracle, he is at 11%. So yeah, just above 10%. So Oracle, he very much needs to go into pit road soon. Rocket can go just a handful of laps more than him, but Rocket and Oracle, both of them very much not good till the end of the race.
Yeah.
Going back to Tomato, let's see where he's at. He's similar to where Oracle's at. He is 13th, or 13%. Sorry. 13%, so him and Oracle are probably going to pit at the same time. And Vanquish, he's already made his pit stop. He's good to the end.
I'd say pretty much almost everyone behind, almost, I don't know for sure, but I'd say probably almost everyone behind Vanquish at this point has pitted and has done their final pit stops.
Yeah, so in reality, it's really that top 3 that needs to head to pit road.
Yeah. Obviously, I'll go through and make sure that is the case, and nobody has pitted. Actually, MVP might need to pit one more time. He's at 32.
32, yeah. He would need to pit one more time. So MVP's not good to the end.
Back in black.
Panda's good.
Cam
52. Is Cam good? Let's see. Cam is good. So
actually, back in black has some damage. Is that 50% fuel left? Oh,
and now we see Oracle on the pit lane.
Back in black has just hit the inside wall. That might bring out the caution. He's damaged, or was damaged. damage. The damage just went away. But he still has some damage.
Oh, he still is damaged. Hold on.
He had steering 100% and he had driveline 100%, but that went away. He
Yeah,
clipped
that.
he clipped the inside wall of the bus stop.
Why would he have damage but then it went away? That could be a Forza Spectator glitch.
It very well could be, but he
Because
definitely did have
he's not running like he has a lot of damage, so could have been the spectator of Forza because now he does not go to pit road.
Yeah. But he'll be. I think he might cut it close. FM needs to pit. He's at 26% on fuel.
Yeah, I believe the caution is out. Rocket is slow. Now Rocket has slowed down, and so the caution is out. So
This
it might have
would-
been for that back and black incident. Yeah, so now that's going to make it to where I'm assuming Rocket and Tomato will probably head to pit road, because Tomato, he actually did not pit with Oracle.
Actually, Rocket has damage. Rocket has a ton of damage. He has 100% steering, 100% drive line.
He does.
I don't know if that's what the caution came out for. That could be it, or that it could be for back and black. I don't think he had damage when we looked at him at first.
Well, Rocket, no, he didn't have damage when we were looking at him. So again, this could be Forza Spectator going a little iffy here. But either way, the caution is out. Rocket and Tomato, we could expect them to go in.
His car does seem to be turning to the left, so I'm gonna say it's on a Forza Spectator glitch, at least for the steering.
Yeah, it does look like he is fighting the car just a little bit, and he's at reduced speed, so it's probably easier for him to be able to control the car under these low speeds.
Yeah. But this caution actually hurts Tomato and Rocket because they didn't pit. Obviously, everyone else pits, so we're not gonna see. We might see one or two cars who are on that edge come in, but this is actually going to hurt them a lot.
MVP goes in.
Place-wise.
MVP goes in. So yeah, those are three guys that we were expecting them to go down to pit road soon. And now with this caution coming out, they do go in. So now that's going to pretty much reset the field to how we were expecting it to go. Vanquish the leader, Oracle the second. So Oracle, he pitted at just the perfect time. It puts him, he practically didn't lose any spots at all. So
yeah.
Oracle will be second, Alpha Jaden to third, Kart Racer to fourth, Cam to fifth, Panda to sixth, Reno to seventh. And it's going to shuffle Rocket, Tomato, and MVP to the top 10. So 8, 9, and 10. 11th, Back and Black and Pit Road. And actually, lap cars are passing them right now. So FM, I believe, actually will make his way there.
And that was something about to comment on is a very lucky move by Oracle to pit. Basically, I think 1 lap or 2 laps before that caution came out, which means he doesn't lose any positions. He was in 4th place, but obviously it was Rocket and who else was it? Rocket and Tomato who obviously pit. And those were the 2 cars that were 1 ahead of him and 2 had passed him. Obviously, Vanquish passed him as well. But
so now that makes it to where off-road, he's gained 1 of his laps back. And actually, Rocket here in the chat, he's chimed in and he said Marvel was the one that got into him, giving him his damage.
yeah, so that's probably what brought out the caution. Back and Black just happened to happen that same lap.
And obviously, Rocket also in the chat, he is showing his frustration against Marvel, but also off-road for an incident that happened earlier in the race. I can understand getting a little upset with Marvel. Marvel running pretty much a little bit more towards the back here, but then Off-Road. Off-Road's a playoff driver, and he's going to try his best to pretty much, especially him sitting in that 9th spot. He's going to fight as hard as he can, so. Now, what do you do if you're a playoff driver in the field, especially around mid to more to the back of the pack?
If you're mid to the back of the pack, this is your go time. Your go time has been activated. If you're up front like Vanquish and Oracle, I think you start playing more defensive, more cautious, and just keeping these spots.
We'll see how it turns out. Back to green. Going to be approaching the 10 lap to go mark here shortly.
Oh, car around. Catch the name.
Didn't quite catch the name either. Marvel?
I believe it was Marvel, but a couple cars might have some damage back there.
Now kart racer through to second around Oracle. Alpha Jaden fighting with Oracle as well for that 3rd spot. Rocket making his way back up. He backs off after he had a run. Oracle came close to hitting the tire wall in the bus stop. Jaden cuts through the grass. He now battles for 4th place with Rocket.
Sorry, it was Back in Black that went around, sorry.
Back in Black, alright. So back through the field here. As they come to the line this time, Vanquish first, Car Racer second, Oracle third, Jaden to 4th, Rocket to 5th, Reno to 6th, Tomato to 7th, MVP to 8th, Panda to 9th, and D-Dog to 10th. As now D-Dog gets around Panda. Reno, Tomato, MVP, all getting real close with each other up the S's through the hill. MVP still trying to get his way back up to that top 5.
Yeah, obviously a driver that needs that top 5, especially if especially if he's ahead of D-Dog. Those where he is right now, he'd gain those 2 points over D-Dog to put him in the playoffs, but obviously D-Dog is now right behind him.
Yep, D-Dog, he's fighting as hard as he can to keep up with MVP. As, whoa. Tomato backed off entirely, and he's now fading. Don't quite know what's going on with him. He's actually, looks like he wants to pull over a certain spot on the track. Tomato faded really far, all the way to 13th. He's actually stopped on the track, I believe.
He's not quite stopped. He's going back now, but he definitely did fade.
Don't know what quite happened there. We kind of heard him just get on the brakes and not battle. Not quite sure what happened there.
They're going
Oracle, Rocket. Yep, they were the ones that were side by side.
Rocket seemed to have backed out, just entering that button.
Oh, MVP.
Oh!
Whoa! Wow!
And this late to the race, you do not, especially if you're a playoff driver, you do not want to be involved in an incident with just 10 to go.
And Jaden, he's fighting back for MVP, and Rocket. He now pulls off. What's going on here? Rocket, he's pulled and slow on the front stretch, similar to what Tomato did.
Doesn't have damage.
No, he doesn't have damage. They're just doing it on. He just did it on his own, along with Tomato. So where does that shuffle Rocket? He shuffles him back to 13th. Very interesting on what actually happened there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened. So now MVP has made his way to 4th. Oracle to third, Kart Racer to second, so he was making sure he's making good use of that restart. Inside 10 to go now. Kart Racer, he's not going to catch Vanquish, because nobody has had the speed to catch him today when he's out in that first position. So it could be a good battle for the podium. As of right now, the podium very similar to how it was last week, because it was between Vanquish, I believe Oracle was there, Kart Racer we had in here.
Just to show people how much cautions can shake things up. So, not the last caution, but the caution before that, we didn't even have 4 playoff drivers in the top 10. After the latest caution, we have 4 drivers in the top 5 that are playing. So, obviously, cautions can shake things up dramatically given the right moment.
Now 7 of the top 10 drivers are those playoff drivers.
Out of the
the
9
two
possible.
out of the 9, yes. And the only one outside of it is off-road in 17th, and it's because he's still 1 lap down. And obviously the last one being Culture, but he lagged out of the race.
Yeah, obviously, a very unfortunate for Culture to lag out. And really, off-road's just been in the wrong place at the wrong time at a couple of incidences. Obviously, he was involved in the massive wreck that happened just before the bus stop that took out a couple playoff drivers there. Obviously, he got the worst of it, got the most damage out of everyone there. So he's just in the wrong spot at the wrong time. Hasn't been able to get those laps back. Obviously, there's still time for another caution.
Oracle just gave third to MVP.
Yeah.
He did not fight for that position. Oracle braked prior to the bus stop, well, way before the braking zone, and he let MVP through.
Obviously, MVP and Carter are 2 drivers that Oracle does not particularly want in front of him. Obviously, sort of Cart more so, because Cart's in that top 4, not obviously in the... not in the top 4, but in one of the drivers.
A driver that for sure MVP is wanting to beat out today is D-Dog.
Yeah.
Because we knew Kart Racer, he was going to probably be running near him, because Kart is that 4th spot at the moment.
Yeah.
And with those point separation, I don't believe where MVP is at right now. He does not gain more points, obviously, but he is gaining more points on D-Dog, and there's only a 3-point separation between them in the actual standings. So MVP, he's hitting that mark right now, beating out D-Dog, but he's not beating Kart.
Yeah.
As it stands. Right.
Yeah, and obviously that's who MVP wants to beat is Cart, but obviously if he can beat D-Dog, then he doesn't absolutely need to beat Cart, unless of course another playoff driver who's below him, such as Reno, Panda, or Off-Road were having a good day, which obviously none of them are ahead of him at the moment, so obviously if he can beat either one of either D-Dog or Cart, then he'll get into that top 4.
And it's going to be very interesting the way the playoff points, or the way the playoff standings are going to look after this race. Because it's going to be very unpredictable next week. And then obviously all the marbles go into the basket for the final race being at Indianapolis.
Yeah, and in Indianapolis is obviously one of the 3 ovals Forza has, so obviously it's probably one of the top 3 tracks that these guys race at the most, with these cars, of course. Being an oval, obviously it's probably between obviously Daytona, Homestead, and as Oracle gives Cart the bump a little bit in the last corner. But also between Daytona, Homestead, and Indy, I would say Indy, out of those three, is probably the one that you train at the least. Not saying that they probably don't have hundreds, if not thousands, of laps clocked at Indianapolis, but obviously, out of the ovals, it's probably the one that you train at the least or drive the least.
Yeah, Indy has ran a lot. It's not really well liked in terms of the racing that it can produce in these NASCAR Cup cars, but like Indianapolis, in my mind, I see more IndyCar racing happening at Indianapolis, not quite the Cup cars, but it is one of the 3 ovals that we have to work with in Forza 7, and so we go there a lot. And it really is going to make it to where it's going to be anybody's game. I mean, earlier this season, we saw Vanquish run very dominant at Indianapolis, so we could expect him to get a victory there. And he could be a one to watch, but you just never quite know with what drivers are willing to do. You never know. We could get a late race restart, and somebody could give Vanquish a run for his money when you only have a couple laps to do it.
Yeah, and how Indy is set out is you can sometimes have that as Alpha. It's the bumper to the back of Oracle.
Yeah. And then Oracle goes wide. Kart Racer getting around him now. That's going to set Oracle. That's going to set him back to 5th.
Yeah, obviously. Alpha Jaden almost hit the inside wall ahead of them. He had to brake very heavily to avoid it. As Kart goes wide, Oracle is going to retake that position to 4th. Kart tried to give him a bump on the exit to try and get that spot back again. So drivers are showing now that now it's go time for everyone, as they're starting to use their bumpers to get around people.
Bumping, banging, and you never quite know. Now, with all of this, we're within the final caution interval, I believe so. Us being so close, especially lap 59 of 61, when I believe the cutoff was either 57 or 58. So, us being here in the position that we're in, I believe we're okay.
Yeah, obviously, with that being said, it's not what Off-Road was wanting to hear. Obviously, he did not have the day he was wanting or needing. So, his playoff hopes are slowly but surely dwindling. Obviously, he was that 9th playoff driver, so he did start with that massive disadvantage over everyone else, because obviously, with the special rules that were made this year, you meet requirements to be that 9th playoff driver, and you didn't start with the points, the extra points.
Yeah, for that 9th wildcard spot, obviously everybody, the top 8 gets a 10-point playoff point boost when, and that's just the general, hey, you made the playoffs, you made the top 8, so everybody gets 10 playoff points. And that 9th driver, yeah, as you said, they do not get that 10 extra playoff points, but then also, you are not allowed to use any playoff points gained in the season. And Off-Road, he didn't have many playoff points to begin with, but definitely having some playoff points would have helped rather than not.
Yeah, obviously, if you look at the first driver on the outside looking in, the difference between being in and right now is 2 points. That's all you needed to be. That could be the difference between you being in the top 4 and you not being in the top 4. So obviously, the extra points help, but obviously, not obviously with Off-Road not having those and having the placement he is today, his playoff hopes are slowly starting to dwindle. Obviously, he needs to have 2 very good races, obviously this week and at Indy, or sorry, next weekend at Indy, to have a hope of making that top 4.
As they round through the line this time, Vanquish on the white flag lap, on the last lap of the race. Run down through the field here real quick. Vanquish the leader, MVP second, Alpha Jaden in third. I believe he doesn't really have anybody too close to him fighting for that 3rd spot. Oracle and Kart Racer fighting for 4th and 5th. And then behind them, D-Dog all by himself in the 6th position. Panda in the 7th position, Rocket in the 8th position, and he's needing to hold off a whole charge of a lot of cars with Cam, Tomato behind them. So this could be a very interesting spot right
MVP's
here.
right on the bumper of Vanquish.
Did Vanquish slow down?
I don't know if he did or didn't, but all I saw up ahead. I don't think it will affect him too much as he's through the last corner, but
Yeah, through the final
very
corner.
close.
Yeah, he got very close there. Why not? A little photo finish at the line. As Vanquish takes the win over MVP. Got flipped around there. And Alpha Jaden, in his 2nd race back for XRS, gets 3rd.
It shows D-Dog as 4th.
What happened here?
I didn't catch anything. It says Oracle 5th.
It shows Oracle in the 5th spot, Rocket 6th, Panda 7th. Where's
Cart's
Cart?
11th.
Cart is 11th.
Don't know if something happened through
Did something
stop.
happen?
or if it's just Forza being Forza. But D-Dog was definitely ahead of
Kart
Oracle.
Racer. No, Kart Racer, he's wrecked. He's full damaged.
Oh,
So him and Oracle were battling for that 4th and 5th spot. And actually, I can't even view Oracle on the Forza Spectator. It's not allowing me.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
So-
not allowing me to view Oracle. It goes from D-Dog, and then it skips over Oracle, goes straight to Rocket.
Yeah. Well, D-Dog, I think, did get 4th because his AI at least was in front of Oracle.
Yeah, the AIs are cross, and the time finish also makes sense. So what exactly happened here? Well, Marvel, he's a couple thousand feet from being able to finish the race. So I want to see the ticker go through one more time to see the total time. Because D-Dog, yeah, he beat
He
Oracle.
beat him by
Yeah,
1 second.
the times line up. So yeah, the times line up to where people should be at. So, well, the top 3 remains unchanged after that. So let's get the top 3 in here, being Vanquish, MVP, and Alpha. So now looking at the finishing order here. Yeah, that shuffles around. Vanquish first, MVP second, Alpha to third, and we have those 3 in here. You guys make sure you have the audio box checked off, so then we can get started with the post race. If we are missing a Vanquish, then we need to get him in here. You're not trying hard enough.
When did we become British?
D-Dog to 4th. Rocket ends up finishing in 5th. And what's going on? Why is the race starting again?
Alright, round 2, let's
Oh.
go.
Oh, well, I think Panda messed up. The
That was actually
Well,
the warm-up race.
Okay, so luckily the previous event results are still recovered there. Rocket to 5th. Panda having himself a pretty good day, finishing in 6th. Cam 7th. Tomato in 8th. Kart Racer So his kart racer back to 9th.
He jumped to 11th, I thought.
Yeah, it shows 9th in the previous event results, but it might have been because on stream it showed he went back to 11th. Either way, we'll get the field all sorted out. The top 3 we know were not affected. So, it might have been because some other drivers had already left the lobby.
Yeah, probably. Me?
Right, so now we have the top 3 in here. Make sure you guys' audio box is checked off. You all good?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, AK, you take it away with Alpha and MVP.
Yeah, sure. Obviously, in third place tonight we have Alpha Jaden. Obviously, you're on a part-time schedule tonight, so to get a top 3 tonight, obviously is very good for you. As most of the part-time drivers are usually just somewhere around 10th to the 5th spot. So, obviously, being a part-time schedule, you'll take almost any placement you can get, I'm sure. But it seemed like you and Oracle were battling a lot throughout this race. I mean, how would you say that went?
It went pretty good. I didn't when I sent him into the S's, I did not mean to do that at all. I meant to hit him, but not that bad. But it was a good battle. A lot of the guys, honestly. I went from the back to the front to the back to the front. I was leading and threw myself in a tire barrier for some reason.
We saw.
Yeah, I was hoping you didn't. But it was a fun race. I led some laps. That was the only reason I stayed out. I just wanted to lead a couple laps. Wanted to feel that again. But it was pretty fun, honestly. The competition's gone up a lot since I've been gone, so getting a top 3 is nothing to be mad about.
Yeah, it seemed like you, along with a lot of the field, were kind of all over. We've seen obviously some playoff drivers go all the way to the back and then all the way to the front. But obviously, you went to the back a couple of times. How did you manage to keep a level head and get back up to the front yourself?
Well, on the restarts, I just backed off and said, I'll just let you guys kill each other. That's how I got half of my spots, and then just was picking people off one at a time. A lot of people try to get too many spots at once, and you just gotta do it one at a time, one corner at a time. And that's what I just did, just one by one, honestly. I had nothing for Vanquish, though. I don't think anyone did.
Yeah, obviously, like we've said, you're on a part-time schedule. So, do you maybe plan on coming to one of the last 3 races of the season?
Uh, Maybe one of the ovals. We'll see. It just depends what I'm doing. I don't have an idea what I'm doing yet, but I'd like to do one of the ovals, maybe.
Well, obviously, congratulations on the 3rd place tonight. Obviously, obviously a great finish for you here tonight, and we hope to see you maybe in one of the last 3 races of the season, whichever one that may be.
All right, thank you.
So obviously now we'll move on to the 2nd place finisher, which is actually MVP. Obviously, MVP obviously was a pretty much yo-yo race for you. You were in the back for a very long time there, but made your way back through. How'd you do it?
A caution. Caution saved my rear end on that one, because with getting wrecked just a little over 30 laps to go, I wasn't going to make it on fuel, so yeah, I don't know, I'm really tired, and I somehow managed to make the race. I just realized like 10 minutes before qualifying, I had a race, and yeah, I'm just here.
Yeah, obviously, the middle of the race wasn't quite how you wanted or probably expected it to go, but obviously you fought your way back up to get a second place tonight, and obviously that's going to help you in the playoffs. Obviously, you were the first driver, the fifth driver in the playoffs, so the first driver on the outside looking in. So with the place tonight, how do you feel knowing that you probably have a shot at being in that top four?
A little better as long as I don't do what I did last week, and will be solid.
And obviously, it seemed like at least something happened with Vanquish. We don't know if he slowed down or if something happened to him on that last lap, but it looked like you gained a lot of ground on
He
that
slowed
last
down.
lap. I think he did slow down, but you know what? How funny would it have been if Vanquish slowed down too much? You know?
Not possible.
Yeah.
Not possible.
There it is. There it is. He ain't that friendly enough to let me have it.
Well, congratulations on the second place tonight. Obviously, it will help you tremendously in the point standings. And obviously, good luck coming into next week.
Thank you so much.
Ben, to you with Vanquish.
Yeah, first place Vanquish here tonight. You win round 2 of the playoffs, getting yourself another championship point, obviously helping you in this championship fight. Winning this race, as you do a lot of races with no strategy, and you already had a big point lead, but there were points that you went to pit road and raced your way through the field. So how was that? And take us through your side of how your race was going to go throughout the whole way.
Well, the restarts were pretty chaotic, but I got through the pack pretty efficiently. I mean, pretty much everybody wrecked when I was started in the back, and I just had to catch up to like 4 cars. But the whole race was pretty smooth. I actually knew how many laps you could do on field on this one. It's 25, because I don't know how I knew that, but somebody told me, I think. Yeah, it was a pretty good race. It was smooth overall.
Yeah, smooth overall. Watkins is a favorite amongst a lot of NASCAR racers, especially with how simple, non-complex this track is. And it might not be for everybody, but it is for most. And obviously you, and coming here again in another dominating performance. What are you looking into, especially next week that we're running the rain race? At a track that we actually haven't ran in the rain in seasons past.
Yeah, I like Sebring and I like rain, so it's gonna be a fun race. I like the rain on Forza, not on this one, but I just like the rain in general. But yeah, it's gonna be good.
Can't wait to see it. Good luck to you next week.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, we're seeing if we could get some drivers in here for, well, playoff drivers for post-race. And we understand that some are reasonably upset. And we already have 2 that declined. Reno's here, yeah. Wait, you were one of the people that we were trying to get. The other person was D-Dog, and we don't know where he went. He kind of disappeared after the race. We're assuming he got off, so we're not going to try and get another driver in here because we already had limited to deal with. So, Reno, do you have your mic connected and everything?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. So, for you, Reno, once again running your Reinhardt Ball Club scheme tonight. It was a Watkins Glen race. It was a lot of battling and a lot of side-by-side action, a lot of crazy restarts. So take us through how you ran tonight and try to take the best moments that you could and everything that you were trying to see.
Oh, I didn't have very many good moments tonight. It was a good mix of, the first half of the race, couldn't figure out how to drive the car. second half of the race, figured out how to drive it, but was too slow, and then nobody's really getting a whole lot of room out there, which was pretty disappointing. And I mean, that's pretty much it. I need to be more consistent because, you know, these 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th place finishes aren't gonna get me very far. So I'm disappointed. I thought tonight would be a better night, but I'm okay in the rain. So we'll see what happens at Sebring, I suppose.
Yeah, with 2 races to go, and you were sitting at a fairly far point, and as I load up the point sheet, I think Cart is doing them as we speak, because now the order's shuffling around a little bit. So it looks like, based off of what Cart just entered in, Reno, you would be shuffled to 6th. You'd be shuffled to 6th in the standings, 13 points out.
Yeah, got to be better. That's pretty much it. I don't really know what else to say. What do we have after Sebring? I don't remember.
It's Indianapolis.
The Oval?
Yep.
Oh, boy.
Indy Oval, it's going to be a treat, especially being the transfer spot, or transfer race. So, good luck to you next week, and hopefully you're able to make up some ground.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. So now with Cart updating a lot of these points, that's going to set it to where now we can actually give a new point order. Vanquish, the first to crack 2,100 points. Vanquish will be at 2,146 points. MVP at 2097 in second. D-Dog at 2093 in third, and he's actually tied with Oracle for that 4th spot. So 3rd and 4th are tied. Oracle gets the 4th spot. Kart Racer in 5th with 2084. Reno to 6th with 2080. Panda to 7th at 2077. Culture to 8th at 2062, and then Off-Road Hype 2055 in 9th. So very much, unless a lot of these drivers have terrible races, that we could effectively see Off-Road, Culture, potentially these guys pretty much needing miracles to get into the championship 4. The fight still remaining close to see who's going to get the top 4 spots. So AK, it was a Watkins Glen race. It was a race that we were expecting. We saw that different line racing. We saw the close racing all together. So was there really anything out of the ordinary tonight?
No, not really. I think we all expected the points to be shuffled up a little bit here, and they definitely are. Obviously, the big question is next week's race. Is like we said, the Homestead Rain race. We've seen a lot of drivers struggle that we thought might do well, and it could have been just that rain. So how will the rain affect on a track that we don't run, plus the rain that we only run usually once a year? So how will that affect not only drivers in regular, but also these playoff drivers? So the next race could be a huge shuffling factor for these playoffs. It could put playoff drivers like Panda into the playoffs, or it could be that miracle that both Culture and Off-Road are looking for, right? So this race could make or break somebody's playoff run. Obviously, drivers like Culture and Off-Road need a good run and need those top 4 drivers, or at least one of those top 4 drivers, to have a very bad day to be able to continue in their playoff chances, right? So we need, that's sort of what this race will bring, is it will bring the unknown. It will bring the unexpected. It will bring the chaos to the playoffs.
Yep, and then afterwards, all the marbles in the basket for Indianapolis. So, very much going to be exciting. Hopefully all of you watching will join us on that journey. Make sure to follow XRS on all of our pages. Follow us here on Twitch, so then you get full highlights. Remember, there are some highlights and clips that are posted on Twitch that are not posted anywhere else. So, make sure to follow us here. make sure to go follow us on YouTube for full race replays and also uploads of the Wheel to Wheel podcast when we don't lose the recording. And then follow us on Instagram for up-to-the-date news and updates surrounding XRS. And then, while you're at it, go ahead, follow us on TikTok. Cam, he makes some cool edits for us, RZX Cam, that is. And then Culture, he's actually the person who runs the page. So, very much wanting to get more league involvement there. And, AK, I believe that will wrap this up for tonight. Should be exciting. And what could we expect next week? And thank you for being in this broadcast once again.
Yeah, obviously, it's always a pleasure to be up here. And obviously, especially next week with the unexpected of that race and the unpredictability of the next race, I think it's honestly a must-watch race next week.
All right. That'll settle the score for tonight. I'm Fan243, and you enjoy the rest of your evening. And we'll see you next week at Sebring in the Rain for round 3 of the XRS playoffs.